we need to talk about death piles. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Courtney and I've been a reseller on Poshmark since 2018. And I sold my death pile to Harry Tornado for $7,000. If you're not familiar, essentially a death pile is just a term that resellers use to explain the amount of items that they have purchased with the intent to resell that they haven't actually processed or listed. It can range anywhere from 5 items to thousands of items. In some ways, having a small death pile can be smart, but then you have other situations, like the situation I found myself in, where you're just accumulating items and you're not getting them listed, and essentially it just becomes a massive hoard. That's what happened to me. I found myself in a situation where I had somewhere between 1,500 to 2,000 items just stacked up in my garage in the thrift store bags that I bought them in. I fell into a pod of consignment clients locally in Atlanta. They're all influencers, so they are in the business of, styling photo shoots and brand deals, and they're constantly turning new clothing inventory in and out of their closets so that they can, share a post, tag the brand, and hope to get a deal out of it. At a point, I was honestly like 80 to 90% of what I was listing was consignment inventory because they have so many clothing items coming in. They do 2 to 3 closet clean outs a year, and each closet clean out has anywhere from 2 to 5 trash bags or bins full of clothing. So that was keeping me busy. The issue is that I was continuing to thrift with the intent to resell, but not listing the items because I was prioritizing the consignment items for obvious reasons. And I was just getting so many new hauls from them that I didn't have any time to list the items that I thrifted. So over probably like a 2-year span, I accumulated a hoard essentially of 1,500 to 2,000 thrifted items that were just stacking up in my garage. I think I was watching Denali from El Ducho Thrift, either on Instagram or on YouTube in one of her videos, and she basically, was calling out, like, if you have a death pile and it is stressing you out and that's all you can think about all of the time, liquidate it. It's not doing you any good sitting in a pile in a garage or in a storage room or in a guest room. All it's doing is stressing you out. So just admit to yourself essentially that, you're not going to be able to get to it and get rid of it. It kind of woke me up when I saw that or read that. And I was like, she's right. Like, well, I'm never, ever going to get to the point where I have enough time to list it. I work a full-time job during the week and I'm married. So I don't have a ton of free time. The free time that I do have, I was spending listing consignment items. So I took her advice and I looked into the app Flip. I sold maybe like 10 to 15 lots of clothing to Flip. But while I was doing that, I was still thrifting. So I really wasn't making a dent in my death pile. I did make quite a bit of money when I consigned through Flip. And you can read more about what Flip is here. I'll put a little description here. But honestly, the only issue with Flip is that it was just taking forever. You have to take a photo of each item. You have to upload, type in a description of the brand, of the size, of the style, if there's any flaws. So essentially I was doing half of the work that I would be doing if I listed it myself, and then you have to wait for it to sell. So it just wasn't working for what I needed. So I had to get creative. And I'm a firm believer, I know it's cheesy, but I'm a firm believer in you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So I decided I was gonna reach out to a famous YouTuber. He's a reseller. I followed him forever. The channel name is Harry Tornado. It's run by a couple, Josh and Haley, out of either North or South Carolina. They were pretty close to me, within a 3 or 4 hour drive. So I thought, maybe they're interested in buying my death pile. So I reached out. I'll insert the messages here. I basically just introduced myself and told them a ballpark of what I thought I had. I hadn't actually done a count at that point and how much I was hoping to get for the items. I wasn't looking to profit. I was just looking to make that money back. So I think I pitched like $7 an item. He said he had to take it back to Haley. They had to talk about it. Within a couple days or maybe a week later, he basically reached back out and said, we're in, like, if you do a firm count and let us know how many items you have, you know, we can come to an agreement and make a deal happen. So I spent the next week going through all of the items, pulling out anything that was like what I would deem as not worth $7. Like, cause obviously thrifting, like, you catch deal days, you catch 50% off days, and some of the items that were lower end, I personally wouldn't have paid $7 for, so I wasn't going to charge them $7 a piece. I wanted it to be worth their time, and I wanted to leave, you know, an opening if it went well for future business. So I wanted them to profit from it, and I wanted it to be worth their time. So I separated the items I didn't think were worth $7 a piece, and while I was doing that, I boxed everything up so that it would be ready when we did the deal. For them to come pick up. So I'll insert a picture of what it looked like after I did that. And it turns out, after taking out all the lower end items, that I had around 1,050 items. So I reached out to him and I said, hey, I have about 1,050 items. It consists of mostly women's clothing, maybe like 75 to 100 pairs of shoes, some accessories like purses and belts, things like that, and like a handful of hard goods. You know, he took it back to Haley. They counter offered at $7,000 flat, which essentially was buying 1,000 pieces for $7 a piece and getting 50 items free, or paying around $665 per item. Honestly, I was just shocked that they were considering it, and I immediately responded and said, done, I'm in, let's do it. So they packed up, came down to Atlanta, dropped off their trailer. My husband and I took them out to a nice dinner as a thank you for what they were doing for us. They came back the next day, loaded up the trailer, and they were on their way. I'll link the video that they posted with the haul here. And I do have to make a side note clarifying that when I said that there was a showstopper box, I didn't say there was a showstopper box. I said there was a box with showstopper items in it. And I should have been more clear to say it wasn't every item in the box that I was referring to, but there were a handful of things like Veronica Beard, you know, things like that. You know, overall, I am super happy with how it went. Haley and Josh are incredible humans. You know, I was hesitant to meet them because in the YouTube world, they essentially are like celebrities, if you will. But I was, you know, pleasantly surprised to learn that they are just as awesome in person as they are on film. They are 100% authentic. You know, what you see is what you get with them, for sure. So, you know, I'm really happy with how it went. You know, they got a massive amount of stress lifted off my shoulders. I feel like I lost 100 pounds when they took all that clothing and opened up my garage. I'm not mad at myself. It wasn't intentional. It was an accident. It was a very big learning curve and lesson that I had to learn. And to this point, they purchased the death pile about 3 months ago. And the last 3 months, I've set parameters for myself where if I go thrifting, I'm not allowed to go thrifting again until I get all of the items from my previous thrifting trip fully listed. And so far that's been working for me. I have not accumulated any additional items in my death pile. I did keep about 2 to 3 bins back from my death pile. The mostly higher end items are items that I paid up for that I couldn't really let go for $7 without losing a significant amount of money. Those I kept for myself to list. And I am going to roll out a series over the next few weeks of me doing hauls of the items that are still in my death pile, in hopes that that will motivate me to get them listed and make that money back. It's embarrassing, but we're going to do it together. So stick around, make sure you subscribe so that you're notified whenever I post a new video in that series. Click the little bell. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. See you guys next time.